First of all, it's been a privilege to have had the opportunity to do this for 25 years. It's a privilege, and this is an incredible fan base. It's been a privilege to be called coach for 39 years. I've had that prefix, and it becomes a nickname. You're walking around town, people are like, "Hey, coach, nice season, coach. Way to go, coach. How you doing?" But when there's a bunch of coaches at the same function, it's hilarious because you're like, coach, how you doing? But it's a moniker that really means something, okay? It has great history and respect and wisdom attached to it. And it's a job title that holds you accountable too, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't take it for granted. It's been a privilege to create a meaningful experience for young people, to have a license to tug at emotion and to push somebody to exhaustion, to forge a culture in a program that at its minimum, you teach life lessons, and at maximum, it can be transformational to people. It's been an incredible privilege to lead this staff. These are amazing women, very intelligent, very capable, competent beyond what anybody realizes. The future of this program is extremely bright. And I can't wait to see, and I will be out there in the stands eventually to watch what CSU volleyball will become in the next decade. And what a privilege it's been to coach this team, the group that's in this room tonight. They're the most intelligent, if you look at team GPAs, the most sophisticated, the most diverse group of athletes that we've ever assembled at CSU. And you can ask them anything from pop culture to anatomy and physiology, and they'll be able to tell you about it. They're amazing. And I've watched a player from a town of 2,000 become best friends with a city girl. I've watched players grow through resilience and pain. I've watched players change the way they look at the world because of being a teammate with someone who's different from them. I've also met with players who have helped me, by meeting with me, become a better coach. And it's been an amazing privilege to coach these two. You guys, you hear this concept, we talk about it called the Ramily, which is a family-like bond within our team. And these two personify that concept. They were friends from the moment they met each other in 2018. Talent and the love of volleyball is just a little bit of what they have in common. They're incredible students. They're both deeply religious people. In fact, I think it's accurate to say their faith guides them in everything they do. So tonight, as I always do in these banquets, I want to tell their story. And this story is based in part on my observations of them, but also on true stories that they've told me. And stories about their struggles, their triumphs, and so much about it is about their strong faith. So I didn't feel the story could be told without this theme. So I wrote a piece with these two in a semi-biblical style. As usual with these things, I've had a little fun with it. But I'll talk about their successes and their struggles. It'll include a lot of quotes from the good book that they've helped me with. And it's called The Book of Jackie and the Book of Sierra, with the pillars of faith, resilience, growth, and Ramily. In 1999 AD, Jay and Dawn gave birth to their third child, Sierra, in a faith-driven household. As she grew up, sports were a little awkward as she used her left hand instead of her right. She played many games and didn't like most of them. She attended a volleyball camp and it was no fun. She wasn't good at it and she hated it. And after the first day, she said, "God, why must I play this game?" And God said, Because your sister is in the camp too, and you don't want to embarrass her, and your parents paid a non-refundable fee. So she returned the next day, and things got better. She had more fun. She joined a team. She got even better, and through resilience, she began to grow. In 2000 AD, Paul and Diane gave birth to their second child and first daughter, Jackie. Her family's Christian faith gave Jackie a feeling of positivity. She loved Jesus, the world, and playing games with her brother Bryce. It made her tough and rugged. She played many sports, including baseball, with the boys. She grew tall and strong. She could jump high and hit things hard. But every time she joined a new team, it seemed like everyone was better than she was. As Sierra grew taller in volleyball, she began to take control. She played every position, including middle, but a wise coach said to her, "Those who grow tall and are left-handed may be awkward in the middle, but they thrive as a setter." A setter, Sierra thought. That position looks like they're in charge. I think I'd be perfect for that. So a setter she became. Both Jackie and Sierra were drawn to a new flock called the Volleyball Club, a place for teaching and fellowship. Jackie was new and green. Those around her were so good, but her coaches said, "You will be high and powerful." Still, she worried she wasn't good enough. Did people like her? She worked every day to bring energy and enthusiasm to practice and games. She remembered Peter 3:13, "Who is there to harm you if you are zealous for what is good?" In a huge contest, the star of Jackie's team got injured and Jackie was called to play. Alas, Jackie's shoelaces broke, so she borrowed shoes from her injured teammate. She was called to literally fill the shoes of the best player. She filled those shoes with a great performance. She was growing, and she knew it. By her 16th year, Sierra had been anointed as a setter. She developed, moved to a bigger school where she met AJ, the love of her life. She won 2 state volleyball titles. Her volleyball club made her a captain. She led the team to many victories. She served with speed, and she played with a competitive fire. Her competitive style mirrored what she had read in Timothy 1:7, "For he gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." Sierra was pursued by many universities, some close and some far away. She was looking for a team that felt like a family. She felt a connection to Colorado State and the strong faith in the many that she had met. She looked out into the flock and chose the Ramley. And then God said to Jackie, "Leave your state, your relatives, your father's home, and go play in a land that I'm going to show you." And Jackie said, "What land is that?" And God said, "Well, I don't know. You get 5 visits, try a few out, and get back to me." For this was a stressful journey for Jackie. She knew God had a plan for her. She prayed every day for guidance. Then one recruiting trip, she met 5 team members of strong faith at the base of a beautiful Rocky Mountain chain. She felt close to her Creator, and it soothed her soul. She knew Colorado State was the right choice. So God looked down on both Jackie and Sierra and said, "I give you the Ramley, and I promise that I will fill Moby Arena with community and magic, but you must do the work. And you must follow the philosophies of Luke 6:38, 'Give and it will be given to you,' which is similar to the philosophy of Coach Tom. The quality of your experience will be in direct proportion to what you give." To Jackie, again, it seemed everyone was better than her, so she made a pact to make friends with every teammate, to sow the seeds of the Ramley. She was a people pleaser. She broke bread with everyone on the team. She read in Proverbs 16:28, "A perverse person stirs up conflict and gossips separate close friends." She promised to live above the drama. She loved all her teammates for who they were and vowed to be her authentic self. Sierra began to struggle in year 2. Volleyball was her identity and she wasn't playing. She was unhappy and losing her way. Volleyball had become her god and it wasn't working out. She thought of leaving. The grass had to be greener on the other side. Then she began to realize that sports should be an avenue to share her faith. What a better way to serve her Creator and the Ramley. She said to her team, "I once thought the grass was greener on the other side, then I decided to water my grass." That is a true story. One night, Jackie couldn't sleep. She was ruminating about her insecurity. She wasn't good enough. People didn't like her. She pulled out her tablet and wrote down everything she was worrying about on one column, and on the other side, wrote down the opposite of that, which was the real truth. Through this exercise of prayer and reason, she discovered that people loved her selflessness, her humility, and above all, her kindness. She learned from Philippians 2:3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Jackie had become a servant leader. The gratitude she showed every day was contagious. God was pleased she had chosen to be a servant leader. He said, I will renew your strength. You will fly up on wings like eagles. You will run and not be tired. And Jackie said, thank you, God. But can you do something about my passing? I really need some help there. God said, that's up to Coach Tom. He's got to do something. It was now 2020 AD. Jackie and Sierra had much to look forward to. Hard work was paying off. Jackie was jumping higher than ever. Sierra would be the team's starting setter. They were hitting their stride. Then COVID hit back. It brought everything to a halt. The game that was once a driving force in their lives became secondary. They went back to their family. They worked out by themselves. They missed their teammates and prayed for fellowship and teamwork again, and God brought them Zoom. They stayed in touch with the family. They all made a covenant that when they get back together, they'll be ready to play again. Jackie and Sierra came back to the Ramley as the older and wiser ones. They had to rebuild a team and its identity. It would take more than 40 days and 40 nights, but they emerged ready for the journey. Sierra asked a lot of the Ramley, and she set a monumental example of work ethic. She read in Hebrews, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. She called to her teammates, put more weight on the bar, and then join me in running half-gassers to exhaustion. It will be unpleasant and painful, but it will produce this harvest of righteousness, even though you might collapse and throw up your breakfast. Jackie begins to see the fruits of her labors as well. She began to realize that playing with and against the best is how you grow. She learned from Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. But because she had been surrounded by talent, she was one of the best. With power and grace, she shared with her rivals, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with might. But if you try to blocketh my mighty spike, I'd suggest you protect thy face. The book of Sierra and the book of Jackie show great triumphs. They persevered through COVID and fought through personal struggles. They led the team through 3 winning seasons, many wins over Power 5 schools, and a Mountain West championship. And in their final season, Sierra grew stronger than she had ever been. She set stronger and jumped higher than ever before. She was now married to AJ and seemed wiser than a normal student. When the coaches asked for favors or tasks, she always said yes. She guided and parented those she did not have to. She felt service to her teammates was first and foremost. Jackie was asked to switch positions, and of course she said yes. She broke her finger and suffered great pain, but still practiced and played 3 matches knowing it was broken. After 6 weeks out, she came back, filling in where needed and doing what was best for the team, still unselfish, giving, and full of love. And on an autumn night with a crowd dressed in white, for the first time, every ticket was sold. Even though Jackie could not play, she was happy. She said to Coach Tom, I prayed. She said, I prayed for you to have peace tonight because I know how much this night means to you. She could have been sad or selfish, but she thought of others. That night, Sierra projected Hebrews 11:33. Through faith, they conquered kingdoms, performed acts of righteousness, obtained promises, and shut the mouths of lions. And tonight, the buffaloes. Yes, it was a memorable night in front of a sold-out arena, a signature moment no one can take away. And as they all do, all seasons come to an end. A photo captured a moment right after the final season loss. Sierra wept after that match, and the first words out of her mouth were thanking Jackie for being such an awesome teammate. The book of Jackie and the book of Sierra does not end when their season is over. They are also committed to teachings in the classroom. Sport is a vehicle for personal growth, but they are called to serve, and for that, they must educate themselves. Both of them cite Colossians 3:23 as a verse they live by. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if working for the Lord. And their work ethic shows. Each only had one B in their entire degree programs. What the heck happened there? Both left college well-educated, having a great experience, but knew there was more to come. Jackie becomes a physical therapist where she helps others keep their bodies safe and healthy. Sierra serves the most challenged of humankind, those who struggle with addiction. In Jackie's 43rd year, she and her husband Isaiah learned that their first daughter, Diane, loved all sports, but especially volleyball. Jackie said, "I've told you of my school by the mountains where I was part of the Ramley, where I felt close to our Creator. Go there, play volleyball, study, and become an adult." So off she went to find her experience. As Diane arrived in Fort Collins, cold and tired from the travel, she found there was no room at the inn, the university inn, that is. She walked to a nearby all-night coffee shop called Alley Cat to huddle by the fire. I think I remember my mom telling me about this place, she thought. She went inside, and there sat another young woman wearing Ram volleyball gear. She introduced herself and discovered this was one of her teammates, both arriving for training camp the next day. They were nervous but excited, and after just a little while, they realized they could become great friends. They chatted all night long by this warm fire, sharing stories of their high school and club teams, what they wanted to study, and how homesick they would be. As the sun came up, they gathered their things together to head out for the day. Diane and her new friend Dawn began to look at a gallery of old CSU Ram pictures hanging in the coffee shop. Almost in unison, they said, "That's my mom." They noticed an old framed photo. It was worn out, tattered, and been there for years. And suddenly they both realized who the other was. Their moms had told them about the Ramley, and now they would share the same bond. It was the beginning of their journey, but they found comfort in this framed picture, quoting Timothy 4:7, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." Thank you.